Hey, welcome to the Business Network Podcast. My name is Dean Renfro. I'm host of the podcast. We are so glad to have you with us. Business Network Podcast is all about helping local businesses, whether it's a brick and mortar store, an online store, a franchise, any kind of business owner that's trying to put the message out there about their business, their product, or their service. We want to interview them and give them a chance to tell their story about their service, their product, what their business is about to the world. And this gives them a platform to do that. And we're so glad to have you with us today. Well, hey, everybody, again, welcome to the show today. My name is Dean Renfro. I'm the host of today's show, as was mentioned earlier. And today we have a very special guest, especially if you are a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a creative type kind of thing, for us to learn how we can put ourselves in a better position financially. You know, one of the things, now again, anything I say, I'm not a licensed financial person at all. This is what my checkbook looks like. So, hey, I'm just telling you, my financial advice is not what you want to listen to. However, today's expert on the show is a financial person that does some great work in helping us as entrepreneurs, small business owners, be able to keep track of all the things that we should keep track of that oftentimes get relegated to the glove box or the console or the envelope or desk drawer or pocket. I probably can look in here and find one in one of these pockets. That's what happens. And it really is not a good way to run your business, because we all know this, numbers matter, especially when you're talking about profit and loss, expenses and income. Those things are all important. So today's guest, I want to introduce you today, is Brandi. Brandi runs a bookkeeping service. She's going to tell us all about that. So Brandi, kind of catch us up. Been a while since you and I have seen each other at a network meeting, but catch us all up, catch our viewers up with what is it you do, how you got started, and that kind of thing.
Great. Well, Dean, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. You're correct. I run a bookkeeping services firm, and I've been in business for about 4 years now, but I spent about a decade plus in and around corporate America, accounting and finance, a couple of different industries. And then around 2018, I just needed a change. I needed something different. And so I left corporate America, pursued a photography business that I'd had on the side during that whole time. I decided to try to jump into that full time. And while I love photography, I don't necessarily love running a photography business. I want to leave that to other people. And so I went searching. I did love the business side of it. So I went searching for something else that I could do and fell back on the skill sets that I'd been honing in that decade plus of accounting and finance and corporate world, and decided, you know what, I think I could really come alongside small business owners and help them get a better handle on their books, get caught up, cleaned up, and really understand their finances a lot better.
That's great, because I know that what happens oftentimes in businesses, you get a bunch of this, you really don't know what to do with all of that, because you forget, what was that? Was that an expense? What project was that on? And because most of us aren't bookkeepers, we run our business, whatever that business might be, or we're very entrepreneurial and we may have 2 or 3 businesses going on, and we've spent money from this account and we spent money from that account, and we don't know what it's about. And having someone that can help us, like a bookkeeper, keep it all straightened out, and not wait till the end of the tax year to say, here it all is, and dump it out on the floor and do the best you can. It really comes, I think, from having somebody like yourself in the bookkeeping process. So describe for us a little bit, Brandi, more about these type of small businesses, because I know you have a niche that you really try to service really well, which probably is a lot like some of my going around businesses doing. They got glove boxes and consoles full of receipts that they do, because it's just the nature of those kind of businesses. So tell us a little bit about who kind of your ideal client is, and kind of where you serve those people at.
Yeah, so I primarily serve service-based businesses. I will work with businesses that have product, but if they're primarily product based, we might not be the best fit, but not necessarily a no immediately. And then I particularly love working with creatives, creative entrepreneurs. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that the business that they run is in a creative field, although that's even more of a bonus. But the owner, the person that I'm working with and helping them understand their finances, they're kind of creative. They think about the world a little bit creatively. They see obstacles more as opportunities, that kind of a thing. And they might just feel a little bit overwhelmed by their numbers or behind or just not know where to start. I really love coming alongside them and really helping them just feel more competent and confident in their money, whether it's business or personal. If they're running a business, they're probably more creative than they think they are, because it takes a lot of creativity to start, run, and grow a business. It takes a lot of out of the box kind of thinking. You're constantly puzzle solving. And those are the people that I really love to work with.
Wow. Yeah, that I would agree with that 100%. I mean, I know that for me, always looking for something to solve or something to overcome or things like that. And sometimes that works inside your business, and sometimes that means you got to start another side business to help that get done. But when we talk about bookkeeping, let's kind of solve that mystery for the business owner, because a lot of times, like I said, there's different venues of financial services. There's a financial service person, there's a CPA, there's a tax accountant, there's employee payment services, and then there's bookkeeping. So when we talk about bookkeeping, let's talk a little bit about what exactly does a bookkeeper do? What are the things they're kind of involved with that would help our audience understand, okay, yeah, that makes sense, why I should probably look at that?
Sure. So you're correct. Like, we all touch the same, we're all in the same industry, but we do different things. Bookkeepers, my firm does everything up until taxes. And so when it comes to your business and all of the transactions that occur through your business, what we'll do is we will categorize all of those transactions for you. We will keep you up to date, compliant, because if you're running a business, you have to be keeping the books. It's a requirement with the IRS. It's where taxes come in, all of the things. So we kind of come alongside. We take that particular load off your plate when you're ready to do that. We will also catch up books if you're behind. It's not unusual. Don't be embarrassed. Don't, be sheepish or whatever. It happens. And actually, bookkeepers and accountants can be some of the worst at being behind on their own books, because we're constantly doing everybody else's. But if you're 6 months behind, if you're 9 months behind, a whole year, it doesn't matter. We can catch you up. We also do cleanups. So if your books are messy, if you know that they're messy, great. If you don't know that they're messy, they probably are. That's fine. We'll clean them up. We'll get them in good order. So one, you can understand your financials better. The data that is presented on your financials is good and clean and accurate. There's not a lot of erroneous entries, that kind of a thing, or misplaced entries. Your expenses aren't overstated, or one expense line isn't overstated because everything was just dumped into that expense line as opposed to broken out into the appropriate ones. Same with your income, all of that. That's what me and my team will do and kind of take on. And then we walk alongside you month to month. And if you're interested, we will go over the financials for you, so you know exactly where your business stands. And it helps, and then help you kind of figure out, oh, could we maybe get into this kind of revenue stream? What might the expense side of that look like? Just your decision-making power is so much broader and powerful because the data is good and clean and you understand your financials.
Great. So things like say the data, quote, the data entry that required for that, the numbers that have to go in there for the money that you spend, budgets, I'm assuming, is a part of that, helping
Yes.
establish a budget, like you say, catching up books, cleaning up books, being able to hand that off to a tax person at the end of the year for the tax purposes like that. You kind of know what you're walking into, because I know in business there's nothing like thinking that, okay, I don't think I'm going to owe much tax. And then when you kind of get through all of that, you go, oh man, I messed up.
Yeah.
I got to work an extra week here real quick to make up my tax debt because I didn't know I had that kind of tax debt. Because it's easy to lose track of your income and your outgo and things that you think, oh, that's tax deductible, but it's in the wrong. It's in a category that maybe not as tax deductible as you think it is, and that kind of thing. So, kind of to help us understand a little bit from your business for you from a personal side of your business, what's kind of been the biggest challenge you face in quote getting the word out, helping people know about your services? Because I know you guys haven't lived in our local area. Not that you're limited to a local area. I mean, I want everybody to understand that bookkeeping services are, they're online, they're digital, they're a communication that happens, and it's not necessarily they got to live down the street so you can take them this. I might have to buy a stock in the UPS store to scan all that to send it to. But the element there is that they're finding out about people. Because I know for most people, even in business, even though everybody knows when you're in business, there's money involved. It is that kind of gets personal with people. It's like, well, who can I share this with? It's kind of like a lawyer and a priest, or a pastor. They know things that nobody else knows, and you have to feel comfortable in that. So help us understand a little bit for yourself how you go about getting your name out there, and how you can help business owners feel comfortable with the process.
Yeah. You're so right. And I'll just say from the get-go, I realized how much trust and faith people put in me with the sensitive information that I end up dealing with. And I don't take that lightly, and the team that I build won't take that lightly either. So you're so right to mention that. I will say the biggest challenge really is because it's primarily a digital virtual business. Where you might hang your shingle out back in the day, and people are just walking along the streets, that same shingle in a digital world is dwarfed, and so it really has been a challenge to really kind of figure out the best way to get in front of the right clients. Where do I need to go? Who do I need to kind of connect with, particularly in the digital world? Even while I'm local, part of a local community. And so one of the things that I did when we moved here about a year ago, coming into a brand new community, I got brave and I jumped into a networking group. And that's where I got to meet you. And it's my first networking group, and it's been a great experience just to start talking about the business, getting more comfortable about talking about it, and being able to have more of these conversations where you're asking me questions, help me understand this and whatnot, because I think that gives me a little bit better opportunity to then go out in person, and even in my digital communication, put the message out there that I'm really wanting to send to people about what it is that I do and how I can help them.
Sure. So, let's just jump off of that right there and talk about, so kind of what would be the first steps for communicating about that you would have and communicate with a business owner that, say, maybe hadn't used bookkeeping before, or maybe tries to keep their own books, on some, whether it's a piece of paper ledger kind of thing, or their billfold, or maybe even have tried to go out there and try some of the digital tools out there. Kind of help our audience understand a little bit of what would kind of be some of the first steps that would happen in that process.
Sure. So usually I like to start off with a discovery call, and it's just an informal chat, just to get to know each other a little bit, get to know about your business and kind of where you are with the bookkeeping. Is it pen and paper? Is it Excel? Is it an accounting software system like QuickBooks, whether it's desktop or online, or Xero? Is it some kind of mix of all of the above? Why you're looking for a bookkeeper? What is it that's kind of pushed you into that? what you're looking for out of it, what the expectations are, where the business is going in the next 5 years, like all of those kinds of questions. I love to have, just kind of an informal chat. And then depending on kind of the details of that, if for some reason there wasn't like an actual set of books in QuickBooks or something like that existed yet, and you wanted to move forward, most of the time that looks like me asking for your bank statements for a season. And then credit card statements, any kind of financial institution statements, loan statements, all of that. And we start building the books from a beginning kind of standpoint and whatnot. If there is something like a QuickBooks file, usually I ask for access to that QuickBooks file and I dig in and try to get a feel for what you've got going on already. And we go from there.
What kind of mess we kind of made already. I got you. Okay, yeah. Now I'm sure most of our viewers, they got it all together, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right. So when you talk about, getting your name out there, getting your word out there, what are kind of some short-term goal of that you kind of had for this year, 2020? We're in 2024. If you're watching this some other time in the world, in 2024, what are some things you'd like to see for your business happen?
Oh man, I'd really love to double my top line revenue at a minimum, and then and pick up a handful more clients in that process. I'd love for some of those clients to be here locally just to start putting down some roots here where we're at. But I'm open to it being obviously anywhere digitally in the US, probably not internationally, but US. And then I also hope to grow a little team behind me so that I'm like any other business owner. Sometimes one of the reasons you look to offload the bookkeeping is so that you can then go do the things that make you money, that you're better at, that you want to be doing anyway. You don't want to be doing the bookkeeping. The same with me. I don't mind doing the bookkeeping, but if I can get a couple of team members under me that can take on some of that client load, the day-to-day work, it frees me up to be able to build the business and grow the business a little bit more because I'm not having to split that time so much.
Yeah, to me, I think that 100% correct about the part on the business owner side is most of the things that we don't like doing, we put off, we procrastinate, and so because we hate doing them or we don't know how to do them and we don't want to do them. So I think definitely for a lot of business owners, the bookkeeping side of things is probably one of those things, or either they're like you, they are one because they like doing it.
Right.
And so I think that's great for business owners to think about the process of establishing a process with somebody like yourself that's trained, that thinks. I think for me as a business owner, I don't even know how to think about that. In other words, I just know, okay, there's a bunch of receipts in here because I know they're part of getting tax deductions, because I know most business owners, we're privileged to live in the United States and pay and have a job and make money as capitalists. Part of that is taxes. And we shouldn't look at taxes as our enemy, but as part of the privilege. But at the same time, we shouldn't necessarily think that we should pay everything to the government when we don't have to. But part of that don't have to comes out of what's got to be kept, tracked, and presented to a tax authority that can say, yes, that's deductible, and you can keep part of that money that you thought you were going to have to pay in at the end. So for as a business owner myself, I think that is, so important for that. So tell us a little bit about then what have been some things this year. I know here we are in, coming, tomorrow's the first day of May of 2024. What are some of the things that's been exciting for you that's happened this year so far for you?
Ooh, yeah, I am excited about this. So I'm actually opening up a new kind of stream, like a new revenue stream, within the business for financial coaching, which has been a personal interest and joy of mine. I've done that off and on with friends and family over the last however long. Recently I got certified in the budget app and method that I've been using in our personal life for over a decade. It's called YNAB, which is an acronym that stands for You Need a Budget. It's a really popular method and tool, budgeting tool for personal finance. You can adapt it to business to kind of run the cash flow needs, budget needs for business. You can adapt it. And I've recently been certified in that. And so as a coach, to be able to really help people get up and running with that particular method and an app. And so I'm thrilled to be opening up that kind of line of services through the business, because just as much as small business owners need a little help sometimes figuring out their finances, so do just people, just folks. Like, we just need help figuring out our finances sometimes. And so if I can come along, individuals and couples that just need a little help and guidance in paying off debt or saving for a big thing, or stop living paycheck to paycheck, I'm here for it, all of it. So
Yeah, I guess, and one to flip that around both ways, one of the things about bookkeeping, I think an element from the business side is it provides accountability. Not in the mean way or the hard way or the being judged way, but it's like, hey, I got to turn these in. I need to do a better job. I need to do that weekly versus, annually, kind of a thing. Same thing true, I think, with families and that kind of thing of being able to, like you say, have accountability to a process that they can learn, because we know, in school, they don't teach that kind of stuff to people. And most people in most relationships, you got somebody, they're usually diametrically opposite in their concepts of financing and money. And so it creates constant, banging of heads, and hurt feelings and, unbalanced checkbooks and, accounts that run over and all those kinds of things. And it's just simply because they don't know what to do with it, and I think that's exactly a great idea for people. And let's face it, in the time that we live now, and people having oftentimes to work 2 and 3 jobs just to keep up with the inflation and all those kind of things that are happening, a lot of times people, couples especially, can create a side hustle, a side revenue as a business, if they've got some help, if they got some coaching and counseling to help them figure out what to do with their finances, and then see, like you said, oh, if we save our money, we could do this and start a business where a lot of things now become that weren't deductible, now are, because now we're running it through a business. And that kind of thing. So I see couples doing that kind of thing, which again creates more entrepreneurs and people with more creative spirit, and lets them live sometimes their dream, allows the dream to come to be birthed, because they can't figure out, I don't even know where to start, and especially financially, how would I ever do this? I pay this check to paycheck. How am I going to get enough money to start X, when they could get some guidance and directions? So because you're online, I'm sure you're like me for your business. You work from home. It's not that you can't entertain people at home, but you meet people at places, but more than likely you're going to meet them online. So tell us a little bit about your online, where can they find you online, kind of approach?
Yeah. So I have a website. It's www.sparrowbookkeepingservices.com. It's kind of long, but just spell it all out and you'll find me. And then I exist on Facebook at Sparrow Bookkeeping, and Instagram at the same handle, at Sparrow Bookkeeping.
Yeah, and folks, you'll see that on the screen here in just a minute. It'll come up and you can click there and see what it looks like, because I know some of us, we didn't do too good in spelling when we were in the first grade, and we still haven't done it after we graduated. So we want to make sure you have an opportunity to do that. So I would say, the best primary way for people to get a hold of you or have a conversation, is that going to be through your website?
Yes, there's a contact, there's a couple of different contact buttons and whatnot. Yes, the website is the best place.
Well, great. I think for everybody today, hopefully this has been an eye opener a little bit to you, if you're a small business person, to realize, hey, I don't need to be afraid of the big bad bookkeeper. approach. I need to feel comfortable. I need to have a conversation like with Brandi and just find out where you're at and what it looks like. Because as we all know, it takes money to make money. Everything's going to be a cost. So understand that I'm sure a lot of her services are tied to what are we going to do for you? You know, so don't call her up and say, how much does your bookkeeping services cost? So she's got no clue because she doesn't know what you need. You know, she'll look at this and go, oh, buddy, you probably can't afford it, you know, kind of a thing. But, you know, so take it from the approach that, you know, it's going to cost, but most things cost you. They're costing you one way or the other. So if, you know, you get to April 14th and you got a pile of this and you spend all day and night trying to get it done and you make a mistake, it's going to cost you. And you just spend a lot of time that you could have been doing something else, as Brandi mentioned, so you can focus on what you do. Then I would encourage it, reach out to her, have a conversation with her and just find out where you're at and what the next step is. Having known her personally, I know she is going to work with you and coach you through the process. She's not going to try to sell you a bill of goods and say, oh, you need the whole package and it's X. It's going to be, here's where you need to start. Let's do this first. And you know, because, you know, it's hard to break people from this right here. I'm telling you, you know, you know, it's a stick. Hey, where are your receipts? Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to get those together. Okay. I've got to figure out a way. You know, I was glad when somebody taught me, you know, get a special envelope for every month. And this doesn't get so big, you know, and just learn to put them in there. And we'll sort it out later. So even little things like that help you. Brandi is the kind of person that can walk you through that process. Well, Brandi, it's been a pleasure for have you with us again today on today's show. And one last something you'd like to tell our audience as we kind of get to this point of closing out. One thing you'd say, hey, I want everybody to know about this.
Yeah, I think it's just about don't be shy. Don't let the fact that you might be behind on things keep you from reaching out. We just want to help. We want to help. And if you're interested in financial coaching, like I said, I'm pretty excited about that new side of the business. And so I'd love to come alongside you and your family and help you figure out your finances just as much as I help the business owners figure out theirs.
All right. Also appreciate everybody being with us today.
Wow. What a great show today. I appreciate our guests, each and every one of them, as they come on and are part of the Business Network podcast. You too, perhaps, might be a business owner and you'd like to feature your business and tell your story. And we'd love to have you as a guest. You can go to the businessnetworkpodcast.com and you can see the link here on the screen and just fill out an application. It's not an obligation to be on the show, but we want to start the process with you to be able to say, hey, let's talk about your business and see how this podcast could be a great fit for you and for you to get the assets that go along with this show to be able to promote your business in a lot of different places. So, hey, thanks again. We look forward to you being with us again on the Business Network podcast. Talk to you soon.